When you think of the Midwest, creative talent isn't the first thing that comes to mind. Amongst the vast farmland and countryside are creatives of all types. Filmmakers, photographers, graphic designers, music composers, sculptors. Our team is here to showcase those artists to the world. Welcome to The Next Frame.
I have a hard time rating a movie too low because I know everything that goes into making it. It should not be a sustainable business. It should not be a sustainable art form, but it is. It's persevered in a very weird way. It is such a collaborative art form that everyone is working together on one singular vision. And that's one thing I've always appreciated about it. My name is Michael Viers. Title as a creative is a weird one because my instinct would be to say filmmaker, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case anymore. So I've been referring to myself as a film culturist, and my hometown is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I want to say it was probably around 8 or 9 when I wanted to be a comic book writer. I didn't want to be the artist. I wanted to be the one who wrote the words, and then someone else would go and figure out how it should look. And then there was a period of time where I wanted to be a novelist, but specifically it was during the advent of DVD that really made me realize that I wanted to be a filmmaker. It was specifically War of the Worlds, the Steven Spielberg film. It was the first time I ever got to see a behind-the-scenes feature of them putting a film together. And I was like, holy shit, people actually have to make this, because you never thought about it at a certain age. And I was like, well, I want to do this. I want to be one of the people helping get a film made. So I don't remember anything about Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, but I remember that behind the scenes featurette that they had on early DVD changed everything for me. I created a film club when I was in high school, shooting little videos with my friends. But I knew I wanted to pursue the education side of it, or pursue education for it. I feel like the film theory side of things is extremely valuable. It's like thinking about, why am I picking this shot? Why am I doing this? Yeah, it looks great, but is there a reason for why I'm picking this and how this is going to be used to tell my story? So I think that was very valuable to me. I was able to just take a camera, a 16mm camera, and go out there and just fail in a protective space. And I think that's also the benefit of school. You can fail in a way that it doesn't matter yet. Whereas if you were just like, I'm going to skip film school and just go try working in the world, it matters more than if you were just like, oh, this movie sucked. No one saw but my class. Whatever, let's move on.
Ooh, what a chilling film that was, boys and girls. I know you wouldn't leave your favorite uncle here all alone with all the creepily crawlies halfway through the picture.
So I made a rather successful short film as my senior thesis film about this local public access horror host who gets a letter from a young fan that he's being abused by his father. And this horror host is kind of dealing with this, ends up going out that night to a movie theater and meets a person that he believes might be that kid's father, and how he deals with that information. I wanted to make something gritty, like some of the 80s horror films that I liked, like Maniac or Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, but I was also trying to make it fantastical, like a Roger Corman, Vincent Price film, and it was like, can I mix these two things together? Not that it means much, but it won pretty much all the awards it could win at the Student Film Festival, which is a great feeling. But then it played a part of the short film corner at Cannes.
What was your feeling when you first heard that it was going to be screening there?
Shocked. Because one, I also didn't know what the short film corner was. Because in my mind, you knew about the big feature films that are playing at Cannes and things that are getting theatrical releases. I didn't know there was a whole area where you could go and just watch short films. And I thought it was a very interesting concept, and it gave me an opportunity to be invited to the film festival, which is also surreal because I didn't know what I was doing out there. Like I had a badge, I had admission to it. UWM, to their credit, they did everything they could to get us into the film festival, and also give us a little contingent of people who were out there, so that way we had people to connect with. And then I also had a friend who was volunteering at the film festival who got me into screening, so I got to go to a red carpet screening there. I had to rent a tuxedo because it's very strict black tie. And that was a great experience. So like, I don't know who actually saw my movie. I don't know if it really helped my film at all, but it was an experience that I wouldn't pass up. Shortly after that, I worked with Milwaukee Film on a short film called Love You Still. It was written by a high schooler by the name of Katie Middleton. I think that was her name. Katie, if you're watching this and I got your name wrong, I am so sorry. But she wrote this really beautiful script about this old fisherman who lost the love of his life. And his flashbacks are being intertwined into the film, and he's essentially watching his flashbacks. And although there's a lot of really interesting ideas here, and there's a lot of creative things we can do visually. So I went and pitched that, and they liked it, and I got an opportunity to make that. And that was kind of like the next big stepping stone for me. So like I had these pretty big hits right away after film school, but I had no idea how to find a job. I didn't know how to get started with freelance. Not that I really wanted to freelance, so I was floundering for a while, being like, cool, I learned so much great stuff. What do I do with this now? And that feeling of being lost helped me find different paths to take.
Warning! This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
So, The Shameless Picture Show came about back in 2016, give or take. I had spent so many years from high school through college, maybe even before high school too, watching movies as inspiration to make something, because I'm a firm believer that you need to feed your brain. A filmmaker who's not immersing themselves in the world of film and not expanding their taste is gonna stay put. So, and when I wasn't making as much film stuff, I thought, well, what's another path in the world of filmmaking? And originally, I was doing a podcast with a friend of mine named Nico Aldrich. We had a very short-lived Simpsons podcast called the No Homers Podcast. And we both started off as a way, because it was a mutual interest, but I think we both felt early on that we had so much more we wanted to talk about. And I met another filmmaker at the Beloit Film Festival. His name is Nick Richards. And we hit it off beautifully.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I love that you're laughing already. I'm Michael Viers, and with me, as always, is a very reasonable guy who's experienced some very unreasonable things.
Nick Richards.
And that's how it kind of became, is I was looking for other paths in the world of film. And I spent so much time watching film and dissecting it. It's like, what can I do with this? And it was a way for me to rediscover my love for film in a different way. So that's kind of how it came to be, especially because as film fans, we all have our list of shame, things that we haven't seen. And we don't like to admit that we haven't seen it. So like someone's like, oh, have you seen Apocalypse Now? And you're like, yeah, it's great. Just hoping they don't ask you any questions about it. And I was like, why do we feel so much shame when we haven't seen something? There's only so many hours in the day. So it was a way for us to kind of proclaim, no, I have not seen Apocalypse Now, but this gives me a way to feel comfortable seeing it. So that was kind of the thought process behind it. Me and my co-host Each came in each season with a couple, like a list of movies that we haven't seen that we felt we should have. And in some cases, movies that we loved from childhood that the other one hasn't seen. Pretty much the main goal is one person in the episode should not have seen the movie we're discussing. I think we've only broke that rule once or twice. That's where the Shameless Picture Show came to be, and then my co-host Nick had to leave the show for personal reasons, so now I find a guest for every single episode, and I think we've been bringing out some really interesting conversations. Early on in the show, we did an episode on Rocky, because it's one of my favorites, and my co-host and a good friend of mine had never seen it. But I was also able to bring my friend Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma in on the episode because he worked on that movie back in 1974. So he was a production manager. So he was able to talk to me about what that set was like, what John G. Avildsen was like, and it was a different perspective than I think we've normally gotten.
I've got the shots of Rocky running up those stairs at the museum, and everybody thinks it's Steadicam. It's actually, we shot it from baby legs. I shot John shooting from he did his own camera work.
And that's what I try to do, is I try to make sure we're a critical analysis podcast first and foremost, but when opportunities to talk with people about things like this come up, I jump at those opportunities.
Hey guys, Michael here from the Shameless Picture Show. Let's talk about some new releases.
So the Shameless Picture Show can be found on pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, Amazon Prime, Audible. I think we are even on iHeartRadio. We're pretty much everywhere, and if we're not, just reach out to me and I can make sure it gets on there. And then you can find us directly through our podcast network, Cinepunx. That's CINEPUNX.com. We're directly on there along with a lot of other cool podcasts as well. People come to me all the time, it's like, what do I have to do to get a podcast together? And I'll be like, just start recording. They're like, well, don't I need this? No. Like, yes, but also no. So many headphones now have a clear enough mic. Don't let not having gear stop you from doing something. I started with a Rock Band mic and a wire hanger. Eventually upgraded to like one of those Yeti microphones, which are surprisingly good quality for being a USB mic. And now in my back room where I do my podcasts, I actually have a mixing board and an XLR mic. And I'm in my 9th season and I've just got that. Because I just thought, if I let gear stop me, I'm never going to do it. All you need is a microphone and a way to cut the podcast. And so many computers now, especially an Apple product, have free programs for that. I feel like the trap that people get into is they'll look at, I don't know who any of the popular YouTube personalities are right now, but they'll look at, say, someone like Mr. Beast or whoever, and look at what they're doing now and be like, well, I need my show to look like this or people aren't going to take me seriously. He's been doing this for years, has millions of dollars. Go back and watch his first video and see what he was doing. I can guarantee you it doesn't look like it does now. Or like the Good Mythic Morning people or whatever. Go back and watch their early stuff and see what they were doing. Just don't try to compare yourself to everyone else. And actually, that's great advice for filmmaking as well. Your film may not look like Christopher Nolan's movies, but that doesn't mean it's not a valid film. I think you can be a creative here or realistically anywhere, but I think Milwaukee is a big enough hub where there's a fair amount of people doing it, but not so many that it's impossible to break in. There's a lot of people still willing to do things for the fun of it. Mount Place is like Blackbird Bar in Bayview. When I shot my senior thesis film, I had no money. I was like, hey, I would love to shoot here. Is there any way we can work something out on before you guys open that we can come here and shoot? And I gave them just a little bit of money, and they're like, hell yeah, just come over and do it. So I feel like there's this quality of Midwest nice where people are just really willing to try to help out and make something cool.
Why don't you try taking a look at some of my music? I am sure you will find something. Yes.
made a music video not too long ago, and I planned this music video because I'm not much of a shooter. I've never been a shooter. I've usually been a writer, editor, or on the directing side of things. Like, I can do some grip work and stuff, but I never did it enough that I could make it my job. And plus, I'm still not great at wrapping cables. And you don't want to be on a set if you don't know how to wrap a cable properly. But I made this music video, and I wanted to see, can I do everything on my own? So I shot it myself, I lit it myself. I just wanted to see, if push came to shove and I couldn't get anyone to help me, can I do this all myself? And it's not great in terms of how it looks, but I did it all myself, and I'm very proud of it. And I had a friend of mine, he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I see you're shooting this music video. I'd love to come out and help you. And he's a working professional. He's got his own gaff truck and everything. He usually rents out his gaff truck. It's a whole thing. And he's like, I was like, yeah, if you have free time and you'd like to come. And I also told him, he's like, there's not any pay involved because I'm doing this all myself. And he goes, I never asked you for pay. But I was like, cool, just want to throw that out there just in case, And he came out and he's like, hey, do you want me to shoot this for you? And I was like, I love that. I wanted to see if I can do this myself. It was like, if you can be my assistant camera. So like, I had a much more talent. Like, he has way more skill and talent than me, but he was just essentially just doing grunt work for me. But he brought out his entire gaff truck just because he had nothing going on. And it's like, people are still willing to help. You just don't want to take advantage of it. That's what I love so much about filmmaking, is a couple things. One, filmmaking is one of the only art forms that incorporates every other art form into it. So it's almost like a super group of art forms. And then two, it is extremely collaborative. Not saying you can't go out and make a film on your own. That was actually one beautiful thing about UWM, is we were introduced to all these experimental art films of people just who had this need to make something, and they did on their own. And I love that. It is a mini miracle that anything ever gets made. And this is such a weird business because it makes no sense and it shouldn't work. It is a business. It is a money aspect to filmmaking. Yes, there's a creative and artistic side to it, but filmmaking has always been a for-profit business. Has been, you want to make enough money that you didn't cost you anything, and then you can make another one. And anything on top of that is gravy. If the idea you have is too big, because people are like, I have this great idea for this thing, and aliens invading, yada yada. All right, do you have a way to make that with no money? All right, no, then make something you can do. Once again, Robert Rodriguez in his book said, he's like, it's great to write things that are bigger than what you can handle, but why write a movie about aliens invading when your dad has a little liquor store that you could make something in that liquor store? It's a great idea to write big, but sometimes it helps just to write using what you got. Find the story in what you have. But I think passion also plays into the filmmaking aspect of it. If you don't want to be there, then why are you making it? And if you don't want to be there, no one else is going to want to be there either. But if you are the most passionate person on set, everyone else is going to feed off that passion and try to make the best fucking thing they can. Why does doing a podcast or making YouTube videos or any of the, why is that what you want to do? Because I think everyone should explore their intention behind something, because that all goes back to the passion side of it. Once, if they're like, X, Y, and Z is the reason I want to do this, is something I feel strongly about. I was like, fantastic. I always say, what is your first step? And why is it not just doing it? Just start recording.